I never imagined that one simple event would change my perspective on life forever. For years, I'd been chasing what I thought was true luxury, never stopping to look around. I believed that the more I had, the happier and more complete my life would be. Until finally, my path took me to a place I never imagined.
I always thought luxury meant having a big house, beautiful clothes, and time free from all hardships. I worked my butt off every day, sacrificing rest, time with loved ones, and even time to simply breathe. Every time I got what I wanted, I felt happy for a moment, then immediately felt lacking and wanted more. It was as if there was an unfilled hole in my chest, one that couldn't be filled with anything I bought. Until one day, something unexpected happened, forcing me to pause in my endless pursuit. My health had declined drastically, and the doctor advised me to rest completely in a quiet place, away from the noise and bustle of the city. At first, I felt angry and disappointed, feeling like all my plans had been disrupted and I was falling further behind. But there was nothing I could do but follow that advice and move into my grandmother's small, long, vacant house on the edge of the village. The house was very small, made of natural stone and old wood, with a thatched roof that still looked sturdy despite decades of standing. There were no luxurious furnishings inside, just a long wooden table, a few simple chairs, a soft bed, and a large fireplace in the center of the room. I felt strange and uncomfortable there, as none of the things I was used to or that made me feel successful in the eyes of others. I spent my first few days sitting on the doorstep, lamenting my fate and wishing I could return to my old life. I began walking around the village simply to pass the time, as there was nothing else to do there. The road was made of hard-packed dirt and river stones, winding through wheat fields that swayed like waves in the gentle breeze. The air felt so clean and fresh, touching my nostrils with the scent of wet earth, green grass, and wildflowers blooming along the roadside. It had been a long time since I'd breathed such pure air, free from the smell of dust and vehicle exhaust as in the city.
Every morning I saw the villagers going to work with calm faces, without the rush of people I knew in the city. There were farmers going to the fields with hoes over their shoulders, craftsmen carrying baskets filled with their wares, and women walking to the market, joking happily. They weren't dressed in fancy clothes, carrying no valuables, yet their smiles seemed sincere and shone from within. I began to wonder what made them so peaceful, even though their lives seemed so simple and far from luxurious. One afternoon, I sat by a small stream with crystal clear water, visible through smooth stones and small fish swimming at the bottom. The water flowed slowly and steadily, singing a soft, soothing sound, as if speaking to anyone who would listen. I took off my shoes and let the cool water touch my feet, experiencing a sensation so simple, yet so real and alive. For the first time in years, my mind was no longer filled with plans or worries about what I didn't yet have. I began to realize that my eyes had been so tightly closed by my endless desires that I'd forgotten to see the things that were already right in front of me. I'd been so busy thinking about what I hadn't brought home that I forgot to enjoy what was already in my hands. I thought luxury was somewhere far away and lofty, when in fact it might be hidden in the closest and simplest things. That thought shook me a little, but I didn't yet fully understand what that feeling truly meant. In the following days, I began to learn to do simple things myself, like sweeping the yard, lighting a fire in the fireplace, and cooking simple meals for myself. At first, I felt awkward and often made mistakes, but slowly I began to enjoy every movement I made with my own hands. When I chopped vegetables, I felt their fresh texture. When I lit a fire, I felt the warmth slowly spreading throughout the room. Each little thing gave me a genuine sense of accomplishment, far more tangible than when I'd simply purchased finished goods with the money I'd earned.
I also started to get to know my next-door neighbor, an elderly man who tended a beautiful flower garden in his yard. Every time I passed, he always greeted me with a friendly smile, and sometimes invited me to stop and look at the blooms. He never asked about my job or how much money I had. He simply asked how I was doing and if I was enjoying my day. This simple yet sincere gesture warmed my heart, as if something long lost had returned. The old man once told me that the most beautiful flower doesn't need expensive decorations to be precious. It simply grows with water and sunlight. He said that we often mistake luxury for a sign of worth, when in fact, worth lies in what we can give and feel with an open heart. I listened silently, but his words lingered in my head all day, as if planting a seed that slowly began to grow. I began to realize that perhaps I had been searching for signs of worth in the wrong places, in things that could never give it. The nights in the village were dark, yet beautiful, the sky filled with twinkling stars like jewels scattered across a black cloth. I often sat in the yard, looking up, trying to count the countless stars, and feeling how small I was in the face of the universe. There was no sound of traffic or other noise, only the sound of crickets and the wind whispering through the trees, making my heart feel so calm and peaceful. I used to never even have time to look up at the night sky, because my eyes were always downcast, looking at the road I had to take or the things I wanted. I started taking notes on the things that made me happy recently, and realized that none of them had to be bought with money. There's the joy of warm water touching my body after a cool day, the joy of perfectly baked bread, and the peace of hearing the laughter of children in the village. All of these things are around us for free, yet we often miss them because we're too busy chasing things that cost money. The thought made me feel a little ashamed and relieved, as if a heavy burden was slowly being lifted from my shoulders, one by one.
Although my heart is slowly calming down, I still often wonder if I'll ever be able to return to my old life with this new perspective. I'm afraid that if I go back, I'll be tempted again by the glitter of the things I once desired and forget what I've learned here. But on the other hand, I also felt that I couldn't hide away in this quiet place for too long. I had to take these lessons into the bustling world. I stood in the doorway every morning, looking out at the road leading to town, then turned back to look out at the quiet fields and hills. To this day, I'm still in that small house, savoring every moment I've given myself. I'm not sure what I'll do next, but one thing I do know for sure, I won't define luxury the way I used to. I'm only at the beginning of this journey of understanding, and there's so much more waiting for me to learn more deeply. But for now, I'm grateful to have been able to pause and begin to understand the true meaning of simplicity. A few days later, it rained heavily, as if the sky wanted to wash away all the dust clinging to my heart and mind. I sat by the slightly open window, listening to the sound of the water hitting the thatched roof and falling to the ground in a steady rhythm. The scent of wet earth and fresh leaves wafted into the room, making me feel as if my entire body was being cleansed of the burdens of the past. Amidst the serene atmosphere, a thought I had never had before slowly began to take shape in my head. I remembered the time I had bought a very expensive watch, thinking it would make me feel more valuable in the eyes of others. But that watch actually made me even more anxious, fearing it would get scratched, lost, or no longer be considered cool enough by those around me. I often forgot to wear it while working hard, and when I did, I would look at the price more often than at the time. I now realized that it had become a burden that tied me down, not the liberating luxury I had hoped it would be.
That afternoon, after the rain had stopped, I walked along the slippery path to the garden of the elderly neighbor who had told me about the flowers. The ground around me was still wet and smelled fresh, with raindrops dripping from the tips of leaves and gently falling onto my shoulder. I saw the elderly neighbor sitting on his wooden bench, smiling as he looked at his garden, which now looked greener and fresher after the rain. He didn't seem concerned about any damage, as if he knew that nature knew what was best for everything that grew here. I asked him why he never felt the need to possess as many things as people in big cities. He paused, plucking a wilted petal, then said that true luxury is that which cannot be stolen, cannot be damaged, and will never be lost. He explained that the air we breathe, the sunlight that shines on us, the peace in our hearts, and the love we share with others are priceless treasures. These things cannot be bought with any amount of money, and the more we share, the more we have in our hearts. Those words seemed to touch the deepest part of my heart, making me realize that all this time I'd been chasing a vision I could never grasp. I thought luxury was what I could see and feel with my senses, when in fact,
True luxury can only be experienced by a calm heart. The things we own are merely tools to help us live, not the ultimate goal we should pursue throughout our lives. If we make things our goal, we become slaves to what should serve us. That night, I returned home feeling incredibly light, as if the heavy bags I'd been carrying for years had finally been laid aside by the roadside. I lit a fire in the fireplace, boiled water for tea, and sat quietly, listening to the slow burning sound of wood. For the first time, I didn't feel like I lacked anything in the house. Instead, I felt like I had everything, because my heart was content and at peace. I realized that simplicity isn't lack or poverty, but rather a perspective that allows us to enjoy every little thing wholeheartedly.
The next morning, I woke earlier than usual and realized that I'd slept much better than when I'd lived in the big house in the city. There was no anxiety gripping me as I opened my eyes, no long list of things I had to accomplish before the day ended. I simply woke up because my body was well rested and ready to enjoy a new day with all its simple things. The fatigue that had clung to my bones slowly disappeared, replaced by a fresh, calm energy. I then walked to the river to get some water and saw a group of village children playing happily in the shallows. They didn't have any expensive toys. They were simply swimming freely, chasing small fish, and throwing water droplets at each other with bursts of laughter. No one was comparing who was better or who had more. They were simply enjoying the moment completely, carefree. I stood silently watching them and realized that this is the secret to happiness that we often forget as we grow older. I began to understand that the fewer false needs we create, the more space we have left in our hearts to enjoy what truly matters. When we are no longer tied to the desire to have everything, we become richer because we can appreciate everything we encounter. This doesn't mean we shouldn't strive or achieve, but rather that we should no longer make those results the sole measure of our success. Our self-worth never diminishes, even if we don't have the things that impress others. One day, I helped an elderly neighbor repair his garden fence, and we worked together all afternoon, talking about many things. My body felt tired, but there was no pain. Instead, I felt satisfied that I had done something useful for others. When the work was done, he invited me to lunch, which consisted of whole wheat bread, homemade vegetable soup, and a glass of warm milk from his cow. The meal was very simple, but it tasted far better than the most expensive dishes I'd ever tasted in a fancy restaurant in town.
I realized that the pleasure of food doesn't come from its price or the luxury of the place where it's served, but from the sincerity of the heart in which it's served and the gratitude with which it's received. Likewise with everything else in life, beauty and happiness aren't contained within the object itself, but rather in how we perceive and experience it. The same object can feel like a heavy burden to one person, but a precious gift to another, depending on what's in their heart. That lesson made me want to change my perspective on everything I'll experience from this day forward. As time passes, I'm starting to feel ready to face the reality that I'll one day have to return to the city and continue my life there. But this time, I'm no longer afraid or anxious, because I know that I've brought with me a true richness that won't disappear. The simplicity I've learned here isn't a hiding place, but a solid foundation for me to stand tall wherever I am. I no longer need to change myself to fit others' expectations, because I already know who I am and what truly matters to me. Even so, I still want to stay a little longer here, to truly absorb each lesson and make it a part of me forever. I want to ensure that when I leave, I take with me not only beautiful memories, but also a new perspective that will last forever. I want to savor every second of my remaining time, breathing the clean air, talking to genuine people, and loving every simple thing around me, because I know I might never find a place as serene and honest as this again. Day after day passes peacefully, and each day I discover new meaning in the same things I do over and over again. I realize that the greatest luxury is having time to enjoy life, having a heart calm enough to see the beauty in every little thing. Luxury is being able to sleep soundly without worry, being able to smile without pretending, and being able to love without expecting anything in return. These are the things I've been searching for in the wrong places, when they've always been within me, if only I'd paused to find them.
Now I no longer feel like living in this village is a compulsion or a punishment I must endure. Instead, I feel like it's the most beautiful gift I've ever received, a rare opportunity to pause and reassess my life's direction. I've learned that true luxury is never bought with money, but rather achieved with a heart that is grateful for what one already has. And here, amidst this simplicity, I finally found the luxury I'd been relentlessly searching for. The day came when I had to return to the city, my body fully recovered, and my old task awaited me to complete. I no longer felt any regret about leaving this village, knowing that what I had learned would not remain here. I promised myself that I would never forget this valuable lesson, wherever I was and whatever I faced in the future. That morning, I packed only a few items of clothing and a small notebook, leaving behind almost everything I had brought from the city. The journey home felt much shorter than the first time, perhaps because my heart was no longer heavy and filled with worry. As the horse-drawn carriage pulled away, I looked back and saw the village slowly disappearing behind the green hills, but its image remained vividly etched in my heart. I no longer felt alienated from the outside world, as I now had a different perspective on everything before me. I knew that challenges would inevitably return, but I was no longer afraid to face them alone. When I arrived in the city, the familiar atmosphere seemed exactly the same, noisy, busy, and filled with people rushing about, each rushing to their own destination. But to me, everything felt different now, as if I saw the world with new eyes and a clearer heart. I no longer felt pressured to keep up with everyone else, and I no longer felt inadequate if I didn't have what others had. I walked at a calm pace, enjoying the scenery around me without comparing myself to anyone.
Many friends and acquaintances asked me where I had been and why I looked so different. Some even suggested that I return to pursuing the position and wealth I had put on hold, as they thought I had wasted my precious time. I simply smiled and replied that I had actually found the most valuable treasure during that time I had left. I didn't try to persuade them to understand, because I knew everyone had their own time to understand the meaning of life. I no longer lived in the large house I once boasted about, but instead rented a small, comfortable room in a quiet corner of town. Inside, I had only the furniture I absolutely needed: a bed, a desk, a bookshelf, and a very comfortable old wooden chair. I didn't decorate the walls with expensive paintings or awards, but with pictures of flowers, dried leaves, and little notes about things that made me happy. This small space felt much more spacious and warm than the big house that had once made me feel lonely amidst the luxury. Even at work, I changed my approach. I still tried my best, but I no longer let work dominate my life. I stopped pushing myself to finish everything quickly and began to calmly enjoy each step of the process. My work actually became better and more thorough because I was no longer rushed or filled with anxiety about failure. People began to notice the change in me, even if they didn't necessarily understand where that calmness came from. Every weekend, I always made time to go out of town, seeking a quiet place like a field, a river, or a quiet hill. I would sit quietly for hours, just listening to the sounds of nature, breathing in the fresh air, and remembering the lessons I learned in the village. Sometimes I would also invite friends who were tired or confused to join me for a leisurely walk in nature. Many of them felt a sense of relief after taking a break from the busyness that weighed on their minds.
I also began to share my strengths with those in need, without expecting praise or any reward. I've realized that the more we share what we have, the more space our hearts can accommodate greater happiness. I used to think that hoarding as much as possible was the way to become rich, but true wealth is felt when we can benefit others. This simple thing makes my life feel so much more colorful and meaningful than when I only thought about myself. Sometimes I still see people around me chasing luxury in the same way I once did. I no longer feel strange or judgmental about them, because I know I was once in the exact same position as them. I only hope that one day they too will pause, open their hearts, and discover what is truly valuable in their lives. Everyone has their own path and time frame to reach that peaceful understanding. Now I can calmly say that I do possess a truly valuable treasure, even if it may not be visible from the outside. My wealth is a peaceful heart, ample time to enjoy life, sincere affection, and unwavering gratitude. This wealth cannot be stolen, will not be damaged, and will not diminish even if I share it with anyone. This is the luxury I've been seeking, and it thrives precisely in the simplicity I've chosen to live. I also realize that simplicity doesn't mean not having what we need or having to live in poverty. Simplicity is knowing the limits of our needs, so we are no longer slaves to endless desires. It is the freedom to choose what is truly important to us and to let go of what only burdens our hearts and minds. This way, we have ample space to enjoy every second of this extraordinary life.
Sometimes people think I've lost my ambition or drive to move forward, but I've actually found the right direction to move forward. I continue to strive to be better every day, but now I do it with joy, not out of fear of being seen as less worthy. I've learned to value the process more than the end result, and to value myself for who I am, not just for my successes. This small change has had a profound impact on my entire life and the way I view the world. Years have passed since the day I first arrived in that small village house, but the lessons I learned have never faded. Whenever I feel tempted to fall back into old habits, I remember the peace I felt when I lived simply. I pause, take a deep breath, and look back at what truly makes me feel alive and happy. And always, the answer comes back to simple, honest, and sincere things from the heart. I am grateful for all the events that have led me to this understanding, both the joyful and the painful in my past. Without feeling disappointed, confused, and lost, I might never have stopped looking toward what is truly valuable. Every step I've ever taken, every mistake I've ever made, and every tear I've shed is part of this journey. They've shaped me into a wiser, calmer person, and more able to appreciate the luxury hidden in simplicity.
And to this day, I'm still learning, because I know the journey to understanding the meaning of life will never end here. But now I walk with a light heart, open hands, and a genuine smile at everything I encounter. I no longer seek luxury in the wrong places, because I now know that true luxury lies within a simple heart. That's my story of how I finally understood that simplicity is the most beautiful and eternal luxury. I hope this story can serve as a reminder for all of us to pause amidst our busy lives, that luxury doesn't always appear shiny or expensive in the eyes of others, that the most valuable things are often the simplest and closest to our hearts, and that we are valuable enough just as we are, without needing to possess everything to prove it. If there's a lesson you can take from this story, please share it in your heart or with someone you love. We all walk different paths, but we all deserve to find peace and happiness. Thank you for taking the time to reflect and walk with me through this story. See you again in the next story filled with meaning and serenity.